I hope you're doing really well. It's your main man Anil coming live for Immunity for the Community podcast. Once again, hope you're all doing really well. I hope you had a happy Halloween, a happy Diwali. I'm here to serve you at the highest level, and today I'm going to be going through how you can recover from a toxic situation and now get yourself back on track to rebirth yourself on the Right Show and Story course. I'm going to be going through all the recovery from a toxic situation, all aspects of it, what the signs are that you're in a toxic situation, and now showing you your inner strength so that you can also channel your inner Rocky exclusively on Immunity for the Community. So let's go right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Right now you might find yourself in a toxic situation. Perhaps things have changed, perhaps you see a lot of controlling behavior, maybe you even started to spot narcissism, and these are all signs that you're in a toxic situation. You might feel trapped. You might find yourself questioning yourself. You might be saying the right things, but for some reason it's not resonating with the other person. And you might find yourself in a predicament where you are stuck in a toxic situation and it's time to leave. It's time for you to get out from this situation. Guys, I just left a toxic situation at work, and as you can see, I've successfully landed a new role as an SEO executive, and I'm very happy. But I'm here to serve you today at the highest level and to use examples so that I can help you in this situation. So the first few signs of a toxic situation is starting to feel like you're trapped. You're saying the right things to the people around you, but for some reason it's not resonating. You're saying things that are clearly true, clearly right. How you feel about yourself, standing your ground, setting boundaries, but for some reason they keep pushing back, they keep going on to your boundaries, they keep on making you uncomfortable. And that toxic situation of being around people like that, who are essentially vultures, energy vampires, taking energy from you and then questioning what you're saying, which is the actual truth, and then deflecting the truth and spinning it into something else. That is the first sign. You're feeling trapped. The second sign of narcissism is of a toxic situation, shall I say, is starting to spot that narcissism. You start to see somebody turn into a narcissist. You start to see them now blame you for things that are their fault. They take no accountability of what is truly on them, what is for them to do. And every time you stand up to them, they always try and put it back onto you. You say things like, I don't agree with that, I won't be talked to like that. And they come back and say, oh, I'm not trying to say that, but this. And they deflect, and they keep putting that point back on you. And every time you're at them, telling them, I will not tolerate that, they'll then deflect and say, oh, I'm not saying that. Oh, I'm not trying to say anything. But they are trying to say something. Do you see? Do you see the pattern here? Narcissism is very subtle and it creeps in. And a lot of these people have now reached a point where they're so settled that they think that they're always right. You know, there is a confidence in knowing when you're right and when you're wrong. And it's important as a person to truly know when you are in the wrong so you can do something about it, to be in a place where you can be forgiven and you can make amends and you can put it behind you and you can let it go. A narcissist never admits that they're wrong, and even when they're clearly in the wrong, they always see it from just their point of view, and they always try and put that point of view onto you, even when it clearly shows that they are the one that has done the wrong, and they make you feel trapped by constantly making you feel like you're in the wrong. The third sign of a toxic situation is when you start to see people around you change. They start going very quiet. People that you used to get on with before go suddenly very quiet, and all of a sudden they click up with these same people who are behaving like narcissists. And in that, you start seeing that control, the fourth sign. The fourth sign of a toxic situation is that controlling behavior coming from the main protagonist of who you have an issue with, and they are the narcissist, who are always controlling every action you do, at a point where they're almost questioning where you can go, what you can do, how you can think, and at a point of questioning your decision making, let alone the doing, let alone what you're doing, let alone your time, let alone your energy, let alone your money. They are now at a point where they're trying to control how you think. And over here at the Immunity for the Community, we don't control how people think. We inspire people to think positively, to do right, to learn from their mistakes. But those who are controlling have to exactly control the outcome. Everything has to be run through them. Everything has to be run by them. Everything has to be them tinkering with it, even when it's for you to do. You could find yourself in this situation in some similar way at work, or in a personal relationship, or just in a friendship, or in a family setting and environment where you're now trying to break through in your weight loss journey, and you're finding this controlling behavior where it always has to be ran by them, when it always has to be that sort of way, when it always has to be that way, when it clearly does not make sense, and it's not setting you up to then be self-sufficient. And ultimately what this will do, all these signs, and there are many more of course, and I'm open to hear any other suggestions in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Drop a comment here if you have any other. But what they all essentially will do is they will damage your trust, they will violate your trust, they will then make you question yourself, bring in that self-doubt, and then ultimately you start losing self-trust. Every time you show up to this situation, every time you find yourself in this situation with these particular people, whether it be in a work environment or a personal environment, or just you now trying to break through as the first person in your family to do something spectacular, like lose weight, like make a breakthrough, like get a degree, like go on holiday, like move out of your house, anything like that that requires you to grow as a person, and they're dragging you down like this, that is the sign that you're in a toxic situation. Now I'm sure you've at this point already tried to talk it out, but this is how you recover from a toxic situation, and I want you to talk out with them exactly what it is that makes you uncomfortable and why you do not want to be treated that way. It is important for you as a person to stand your ground and to stay true to your values, and to let people know that you will not be talked to like that. You will not have accusations hurled at you, you will not have lies thrown at you, and you will not have misconceptions put on you by people who are in the wrong. And you will let them know in a very assertive and firm way that I will not be talked to like that, I will not be treated to like that, and the next time you talk to me, you better talk to me with some respect. And that is how we're going to go forward. If at that point you can see that the people just are not changing their tone, they're not changing their behavior to then make you feel more at peace, then it's time to leave that situation. If you find yourself standing up for yourself and then them still doing the same thing, they have totally disregarded exactly what you've told them about these elements of what we're talking about, of being trapped, of cliques, of narcissism, and then also itself questioning everything that you do, running it by them, the controlling behavior. If they are at a point where they are not listening, they have reached narcissism. And a narcissistic person cannot be saved. You have to leave a narcissist. Now it doesn't mean to say you run away scared from a narcissist. You stand your ground firmly, and in you standing your ground firmly, you maintain your self-respect, you maintain your values, you know your worth, and in you knowing your worth, you leave that toxic situation and you go to a better situation where people will treat you with respect. And I went through this myself, and I went through a lot of this, of checking people and then looking all around the room, not looking me in the eye, deflecting from the point. People like that are liars, and sometimes we tell a white lie to protect ourselves because it's our personal business and that's justified. But people like that who persistently lie, break promises, break trust, are not to be trusted and to be around long term. And people like that are not the ones that you want to be surrounded by at all. So now we're going to go through recovery of the toxic situation at the emotional level, and how it can help you on the Write Your Own Story course now to start battling your demons and conquering your demons and overcoming them and healing. So now I've talked through that, it is now time for you to leave that toxic situation. And in order for you to do that, I want you to weigh up the good and I want you to weigh up the bad. What is the good side of it? What is the bad side of it? What is the part of it that's keeping you in that situation? Is it a necessity? Is it something about finances or money or some sort of paycheck or some sort of relationship that you think you've developed there? What is keeping you there? I want you to think about the positive sides of it, the negative sides of it. What is it taking from you? If it's starting to take more from you, it is definitely time for you to leave that situation. It is time for you to tell that person, I'm leaving. It is time for you to hand notices in. It is time for you to serve notice. It is time for you to leave certain people, leave an environment, it is time for you to do that. But I want you to first of all assess both. And now we're going to go into a guided visualization to try and help you to see objectively how you want to move forward. So let's go into it. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Now I want you to visualize this toxic situation that you find yourself in. I want you to see yourself where you are. How do you feel? Not great at the moment. That's understandable. I want you to see who you have an issue with, or what specifically you have an issue with. What is making you uncomfortable? What about it is causing you undue pressure, undue stress, and affecting your mental health? And I want you to see that situation for what it is from God's view. That it's an experience. That sometimes people can violate trust, and it's a sign that we need to leave them. But first of all, we need to have that conversation with them, and we need to come to terms with what is important, taking care of ourselves. I want you to see how you will feel if you stay in this toxic situation another month, another 6 months. How bad will it get? How hard will it be? When will you reach the rock bottom? When will you reach your pain threshold? I want you to see yourself taking the right actions. I want you to see yourself standing your ground. But I want you to see if this situation has not improved 6 months from now, because your gut instinct is telling you it's toxic and you're around narcissists. I want you to see how bad that would be to be in that situation. Now I want you to see it the other side. I want you to see it from the other point of view. How relieved will you be to be leaving this toxic situation? Think about all the areas of your life, your emotions, your freedom, your ability to think, your decision making, your productivity, how much you can do, and your finances, and your emotional energy, and how that all now improves on the other side. What we don't want to do is quit, because we don't want to just quit. We want to really assess the situation. So I want you to see how relieved you will feel. It's not quitting if we're looking at a situation from a God's view of this is what is better for me. This is what is going to help me grow in my life, to develop in my life. Now I want you to have that conversation with that person. I want you to tell them how you feel. I want you to truly tell them how that situation made you feel, how trapped you felt, how you didn't feel heard, how you didn't feel like you belonged, how you feel like you've been pushed out and forced out. I want you to stand your ground. I want you to assert yourself. It's important that we communicate and we assert ourselves when we feel something and when we must stand our ground. We cannot tolerate being walked over. I want you to visualize that. I want you to visualize what they say. Maybe they don't accept it. Maybe they do. And maybe they've had time to accept it and see it from your point of view. Let's imagine that you have now made this decision to leave this toxic situation. It is no longer about them having control over you and disregarding what you're saying and then carrying on. Let's imagine that you've assessed the situation and you've now served notice on them. And you've told them you are leaving, and these are the reasons that you are leaving. And you are retrospectively telling them, this is how it made me feel, this is a toxic situation, these aspects have not served me in any way and have made me feel uncomfortable, have made me feel attacked. I want you to tell them from your point of view honestly and assertively, and not taking any mess, being firm and letting them know it's not on. Now let's visualize that they understand how they behaved and that this did violate trust. You didn't violate trust, they did. And it's the onus on them. And they can see it now that they've done it. Now I want you to visualize yourself leaving the situation, but first of all, forgiving the situation. As hard as it may be, I want you to see yourself ending terms peacefully and telling them respectfully, I'm going. And it's not the kind of I'm going that I'm friends with you I'm going. It's the kind of going that I have self-respect and I'm done with you. But I'm beyond the bitterness and I'm going for better. I want you to imagine yourself doing that, shaking hands and leaving the situation. Now I want you to see yourself now rebuilding your trust. And on the Write Your Own Story course, we rebuild trust. We bring back confidence from situations. We help you to gain the self-trust, the confidence to take action and be self-sufficient. I want you to see yourself working with me, getting on a call and telling me how you felt. And now here I am giving you the tools, the Write Your Own Story course, to now help you to become self-sufficient and take you out of that place of helplessness and being unheard. I'm going to help you to redirect yourself towards inner strength and inner Rocky. And I want you to imagine that part of yourself that has felt attacked. I want you to now visualize yourself taking it out on the weights, taking it out on the bag, just like I do, in the same way that I have, because I have faced inner demons too. Then I want you to imagine that in you taking this out on the bag, in you having this conversation with that person who wronged you in the situation, leaving the situation, and now working with me to rebuild trust. You now are slowly getting back to a positive place. And from my point of view, I understand trust, and I know it will take time for you to get to know me. And there we go. We'll slowly get to know each other. You'll gain your confidence. You'll start eating healthier. Now you're going to start feeling the self-love. And with that, the self-trust will come back. Now I want you to see yourself on the Write Your Own Story course. Now with the perspective that you've left a toxic situation and you've been rebirthed as the inner Rocky. I want you to find who your inner Rocky is. It could be Batman, it could be Superman, it could be anybody, it could be the Avengers. One thing's for sure on the Write Your Own Story course, you're going to get built like an Avenger. And I want you to see yourself as that inner Rocky. Now that's who you are, that's your identity. And now I want you to see that you've learnt the lesson to stand your ground and stay firm. And if at any point we get into a disagreement, we will also build trust by sometimes being challenged, because being challenged is good because it creates trust. And then after that challenge, after you have that conversation, you've tested me, I've tested you with the workouts, you with building that trust with me, we see we're genuine. And that's what it's about, building trust. We never implicitly trust, but we slowly trust. And we have to overcome that place where we no longer trust, because we have to move on with our lives. And we have to have the confidence that we're going to be around better people who will help us. And that is me. And that is what I do. Now I want you to visualize yourself now happy, out of that situation, working with me as an accountability partner, buddy, and also a new friend. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. It has been a pleasure to serve you at the highest level on immunity for the community. If you're ready to leave that toxic situation and to start working with me to now write your new story on the Write Your Own Story course, DM me or my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube people at Immunity for the Community, and drop it in the comments section. Channel your inner Rocky. Have an amazing weekend. I hope you enjoy everything about it. Happy bonfire week for the week ahead, and I hope I can now start to serve you at the highest level. Let's work together. Let's do it. DM me. Let's collaborate. As I say, everybody, channel your inner Rocky. Let's go.